Wyoming, Nevada, California, Michigan, Hampshire, Florida, Ohio. What am I doing? I'm trying to see if I remember all the states. Why am I trying to remember all the states? Because last week we finally had a Sony State of Play, that's why. Anyway, we finally had a State of Play after a very long, quite interesting drought from PlayStation following E3, you know. I wasn't expecting such a long, quiet spell from them. I figured they would want to hop on up, drop some big news and stuff. But, took a little longer than we expected, but we were expecting a State of Play at some point. Nothing super hype in this State of Play, but they did say prior that they do have more stuff planned for in the coming months, so we might be getting another, proper either State of Play or a PlayStation event within the next month or two, so I will say keep an eye out for that, but there is some pretty cool and interesting stuff here that may, tickle your fancy. So, without further ado, we're going to be recapping all the games and stuff that were shown at last week's State of Play. Starting off right off the gate, we have what was revealed, Moss Book 2. Now, for those of you who don't know, the first Moss game was a PlayStation VR exclusive game. But it's a very unique one. Most VR games that are in a first-person type perspective, you got your hands and everything like that. Not the Moss games. This is it's a VR game, but it's a third-person platformer fantasy type of game. Basically mean you're not this, being in a game. No, instead you're looking at the being that you're controlling or guiding. I'm not too sure. Sadly, I never really got into the PlayStation VR on PS4. I'm excited to see where they go with VR on the PS5. I have seen what they are trying to do with the controllers, and that definitely has me interested. So who knows? This might be something I check out in the future. But yeah, sequel to the Moss game, I'm guessing had enough of a following. It was popular enough that to get a sequel. You got Moss, your little mice here, right over here, going on his little magical, whimsical adventure through all these different areas. It kind of gives me Ori vibes, just with you got the little woodland critter, and he's going on this magical adventure. See, tiny mice, big rabbit. Yeah, I'm guessing this sort of light is gonna be technically you. I'm guessing you're sort of this spirit that guides Moss on his sort of journey. So definitely an interesting looking game. Pretty nice art style. I do like some of these settings though, this clockwork tower setting, and then looks like a bit of icy areas, stuff like that. This castle is pretty cool too. So I'll be interested to see more. And then, like I said, I'm very curious on what Sony's gonna do for VR on the PS5, because I don't think VR on the PS4 was too crazy. I mean, I debated a few times, but it didn't really grasp me, so I'm hoping they can really grab my attention with this generation's VR. Next, we have Arcadegeddon, a third-person, I think it's a co-op shooter, for what I got from it. Kind of think like Borderlands, but in a third-person perspective. I don't think it's a... Okay, yes, it is a multiplayer shooter. I assume co-op, though. But yeah, it's a very, as you can tell from some of these screenshots, it's a very 90s in style type of shooter with, the colors and everything, and how the character designs. The character designs, honestly, I don't know how many people are too familiar with this, but it does give me, Osmosis Jones vibes, all these characters here, maybe minus the robot, kind of look like they could be related to Osmosis Jones. But it does look like it's gonna have it does says it's gonna have PvE and PvP combat. So I'm guessing there's gonna be a co-op story mode or something that you might be able to play through, and then of course your normal PvP modes, that a bunch of different stuff. Let's see. Yeah, mix of Okay, so co-op multiplayer experience that provides a mix of PvE and PvP experience that allows for many different types of play. As you continue to play, you can take on more challenges from local gangs. Interesting. I will say I will keep an eye out for this game. Good thing is though is that I think it is out on early access, so you should be able to download it from PlayStation Store at the time of this recording. I think it was like as soon as the State of Play dropped, they announced like early access, so people probably have been playing it for a little bit, but you know, it's good that it's already dropping early access, and it does look like they have a roadmap, some type of a roadmap planned out to... Okay, so they do have sort of like a pre-launch roadmap planned out to sort of go out before it launches next year. But yeah, I do kind of like the art style of it. I think it's definitely an interesting style to go with a third-person shooter. Got a lot of funk to it. Everybody likes that funk. Doesn't seem like a too crazy variety of weapons. Let's see. At the start of early access. Okay, so there is going to be more. And looks like all the weapons are going to have different effects. So yeah, it does seem like a very like Borderlands-esque game, but with this like 90s funky style to it, and it's in third person. And it's going to have both the PvE and PvP content as opposed to Borderlands, which is I believe exclusively PvE. I don't believe it's ever had a PvP mode. So yeah, definitely something to look out for if you want to dive into the early access and check that out, see what you think of it. Then, you know, more power to you. Who knows? I might hop into it too. Maybe I'll hit up like Kneeckoh later and see if he might want to check it out and see what it's all about. Next, we have Tribes of Midgar. Now, this one is definitely one that caught my interest right from the get-go at State of Play. So, for the most part, it basically looks like Diablo-style gameplay, which, you know, pretty cool. I really liked Diablo 3. But with a Norse mythology setting, which is also dope. Yeah, you got like these Norse creatures here and around there. And the areas look pretty vibrant. I'm kind of digging the art style. You know, you use typical Norse weaponry. You got hammers. I assume there's axes and stuff. Sword and shield, axe and shield, all the kinds of shields. Customize your characters, the whole shebang. And what's pretty cool is that it looks like I believe they said it also has a separate, well, I say separate, but also a 10-player survival mode, which is pretty unique in a sort of sense for this kind of game. You don't really get like a whole survival mode with these styles of games. Like, this is definitely something, like, again, I'll probably, like, hit up Kneeckoh about, see if he wants to try out that mode, because it does seem, like, very interesting, you know, dive into a world, see how long we last, or, like, build up our world. I think it's really cool. Plus, you got these giant ice giants to kill. That's one thing that looks really cool about this game, is that it's Diablo style, but it looks like they pretty much properly scaled it to where, like, giant beings, you know, are actually giants that you're fighting against, whereas opposed to, I think, Diablo 3, even though you'd be going up against enemies that should be like relatively big, they didn't really like feel huge. That was like the one downside, because you would have like these big demons and stuff that you would slay, but they didn't really feel like all that big or intimidating. This, however, seems different. Like, you know, you got this giant frost giant and you actually look like an ant next to it. So I think that's cool. Definitely something that I'm going to be looking forward to when it comes out. It comes out this month, actually. I believe it's July 27th. So, towards the end of the month. And I'm definitely picking it up day one. Next, for this next indie title we have is Fist. That's all it is. Just Fist. No, it's more. It stands for Forge and Shadow Torch. So, Fist, Forge, and Shadow Torch is the full title. But I'm still just going to call it Fist. Basically a side-scrolling, action platformer, and honestly, it does not look that bad, you know? You got this almost like Kung Fu rabbit that has a giant fist on his back, which, as you know, sadly, I can't really show much gameplay for this stuff, because I don't really want to risk any, copyright on this video, and then have to record it all over again. But it did look like, his sort of fist you'd be able to, interchange with different gadgets and stuff, and be able to perform different moves with. But honestly, this does look like a visually impressive game for something that's a side-scrolling action platformer. Normally, don't see like action platformers have like that strong of a visual presence. Although I think the most recent one we had would be Oddworld, the last Oddworld game, the one that was free for PlayStation Plus. I forget the name of it already, but that one didn't look too bad. That one looked pretty good on PS5 as well, and it looks like this one's gonna look just as nice. Crazy hectic combat, upgradable weapons and moves, yeah, combo chains and all that stuff. It looks like it's gonna be a really fun, like, arcadey style game, and this is another one that I'm really looking forward to getting. Now, is there a release date? That is my one question. Oh, it uses Unreal Engine 4. Interesting. But they said in the next few months, so I assume it'll be this year. And what's nice is it'll also be on, yeah, it's dropping on PS4, so basically PS4 and PS5, which is, you know, perfect. And then here's another one that caught my eye, Hunter's Arena Legends. A very unique kind of Battle Royale game that's coming out. Yes, it's another Battle Royale game. I'm sure like we're all sick of them by now. But this one's different! No guns! As most Battle Royales you played, they probably have guns. But this was unique. As you can see, it is more of like a fantasy style Battle Royale. And I think it's a type of Battle Royale where like... Now, I don't really know if like this is a like you'd be able to customize your own hunter, what they're called, or if there's like different ones with different abilities that you select for each match. But wait, no, that's right here. Caleb, read. So yeah, 17 different hunters from the get-go. That's a nice variety right there, and it really like allows you to go out and sort of like test out which ones, see which ones you like best. And as you can see, you can customize them pretty fucking. I mean, look at that fro, man. This guy, rubber ducky, bro. Hey, he's talking to me. Disco, bro, ducky. Yeah, for different hunters of different varieties, close range, long range combat. And from what they talked about in the state of play, censor it, Nico. Censor it. Yeah, from what they showed during the state of play, it looks like the actual matches are going to take place in a pretty, you know, decent-sized arena, and you'll be going up against not only other players, but you'll also be able to run to actual, like, NPC enemies that you'll be taking on. And I assume there will be some sort of, like, bonus or perk for actually taking those on, because I assume they wouldn't just have them in there for you to just avoid them. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of, you know, something that'll intrigue you to take them on and take them out. But anyway, it definitely looks like a, like I said, very unique Battle Royale style game. And it's going to have 3 different modes. It's going to have solos, alright, trios, nice, and tag match. Now, I assume tag match is not duos, because I feel like they would just say duos right here if that was the case. But I'm not too sure. Oh, you know, if you can't, again, just scroll down and read and you'll find out. So let's see. Tag match is a special mode where you put your survival skills aside and compete solely based on your skills of swordplay and martial arts. You will enter the arena with 2 hunters of your choice and go face to face with your opponent until one defeat the other. Huh. Okay, so it's basically like a 1v1 sort of type of game mode. But instead of like one hunter you would pick for a match, you get to pick 2. Now I wonder how that. I'm guessing it's like a best. Okay, it must be like a best of 3 type of fight then. Okay, interesting. You don't really see. This is definitely unique, especially to like the Battle Royale style games. So I assume like it'll from the looks of it, it looks like it'll be pretty decent sized arena. It's not going to be like just a small, you know, fighting arena. It's going to be one where you're going to be able to run around a lot and find a spot to hide and get the jump on your opponent. Like, see you just leap out of nowhere and get the jump on him. Or, where's another one? Yeah, and they're running through this whole arena. So, yeah, it definitely seems like there's going to be a lot of different ways to play depending on the hunter you choose. But yeah, this is one I'm really looking forward to. And then here's the best part. This game is launching as one of the PlayStation Plus games for September. So literally for its first month, it's free. So if you're a PlayStation Plus member, there is no risk at all for you to check this game out. So definitely going to be downloading it. Definitely probably going to be, me and Nick are probably going to be doing like videos and stuff on it maybe. Like at least one video, I say. At least one video. Because, I mean, we both, still somewhat enjoy the Battle Royale genre. I really do think it's a good addition to most video games. I say most video games. Right now, I think Fortnite's the better one. We won't talk about Warzone at all, really. But yeah, those are really the two big ones. Alright, moving on! Next we have Sifu, another game! Wow, it's crazy. There's been a lot of games shown in this state of play that really tickle my fancy. Next we have Sifu, this kung fu action style game coming to PlayStation and from the creators of Absolver. See, I had a feeling it was from the creators of Absolver. You could definitely tell from the art style shown here. And this game just looks so badass. And like, look at this art style. Bunch of puddles. Nice sliding. But yeah, so the main thing that they showed off in this game's presence at State of Play is how it seemed like every time that you, the player, basically lost a fight or quote-unquote died, you aged. So it looks like that's going to be the main mechanic of this game, which I think was already revealed which was already sort of announced when they first showed off this game. I think was at last year's E3 or PlayStation event. I can't remember. Not pre, but like mid-COVID. Yeah, So, but, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I think they also did state that even though you do get older, you do get wise, like any, like Kung Fu master you would see in, like, or your traditional, like, old, like, Japanese films or action movies, how you have, like, the one old Kung Fu master who's, like, incredibly wise and skilled and is basically saying, like, 1,000,000 battles and learned every technique known to man. That kind of seems the case here, because it implies that, like, even though you die and lose and age, you actually technically gain more experience and battle prowess as you play. So that's going to be really cool. Now, the one sad part is that they did announce that it is delayed back to 2022, but it's going to be at least early 2022. So it's not a huge delay, but at the same time, does suck, but I do understand. Take your time with it, polish the game up, all that stuff. Definitely gonna get this day one. The scenery kind of gives me the scene in John Wick where he goes to the club. Like, most of these areas give me that type of vibe to it. And then I remember during its first reveal with that hallway fight, that gave me Raid vibes. So the fact that it gave me vibes from those two movies, two of my more favorite action movies of all time, definitely has this game high on my list of anticipated games to come out. Now, this one was a newer game come out, Jet the Far Shore. And from what it's described, it seems like kind of like an action survival game in a way, where like you're basically going on this journey to scout out and sort of colonize this planet and, discover everything you need to know about it to sort of sounds like save your people from extinction for the most part. But yeah, it looks like you'd be doing a lot of exploring on this planet, the colonization, be running into other scouts or players as you go on your journey, while also evading people chasing you throughout this world. Kind of sound in a way, it kind of sounds like No Man's Sky, but on a smaller scale in a way. Instead of a whole galaxy, it sounds like it'll be on just one planet. Which is fine, because games like this, you don't want to go too big. No Man's Sky is done it well now to where the game's actually a decent game now. So I am curious to see about the same. I don't know how interested I am in it yet. From the gameplay I've seen, it hasn't captured me too much. The art style and stuff does seem very interesting though. This very bleak look to it. Not a whole lot of colors or anything like that, which normally would be off-putting, but the way they do it here, it does look very interesting. So definitely something to consider checking out. Now, for all my fellow weebs out there, how you doing? You sleep good? You eat well? Good. Because we got ourselves a Demon Slayer video game. But not just any Demon Slayer video game. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba the Hinokami Chronicles. Hi! As you can see, it comes to PS5 October 15th. Though we kind of known this for a while if you keep up with like more Japanese news. This game is actually going to be coming out like a couple days prior in Japan. So we've been getting on some news for a while. This is like the first like major mainstream announcement for it it's had. Now, before you write it off, let me say this. This game is being developed by CC2. Who is CC2? Well, I'll tell you. CC2 are the developers behind, most recently, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, but also, not so recently, and possibly more well-known, the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games, which if you've played those games, you know how well those games capture some of these giant, you know, fights and stuff in Naruto. And why do I bring that up? Well, because this game plays exactly like those games. You know, I can't bring up the gameplay, so you'll pretty much just have to take my word for it, but it basically plays exactly like the Naruto Ninja Storm games. You got the whole like 3D arena type of thing, you know, running around. It has their dashes. It seems like the same like kind of combo moves, the over-the-top ultimates or specials, very cinematic. Has its own story mode with its very own like unique boss fights against demons, and then also, of course, like I said before, gets very cinematic for those like really big moments. Like CC2 is like the best at capturing those huge moments within anime games. Like aside from Arc System, CC2 is also pretty much like the best developers out there in capturing big anime moments in video game format. So definitely something I'm picking up day one. Because Demon Slayer, I've absolutely loved it. Not only have I watched the anime, I still need to see the movie. I've read through the whole manga twice. It's definitely up there as one of my top favorites. It's really great. And here's the best part, this isn't even like the full story. It seems like they're going to be doing this kind of like the same way they did Ultimate Ninja Storm, where they're going to be breaking up the entirety of the series into, you know, multiple games. So I'm assuming from, again, for all my fellow users there, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm assuming this game will go all the way up to Mugen Train before ending off. And then, you know, after we get through Season 2 of Demon Slayer, maybe like another movie, or like Season 3, then we'll get like another game. I predict at least probably 2 or 3 more games for this now Demon Slayer franchise. Because there are some great fights in there, and we haven't even gotten like all the hype characters yet. There's still like other characters that do some way crazier shit than what you've seen so far. So definitely put this on your radar for if you're an anime lover, just like me. Next, we had an announcement for Lost Judgment, the sequel to the Judgment game, which was a, I believe it is a somewhat of a Yakuza spin-off, or at least takes place within the Yakuza world. As you play as this sort of, let's see, we're gonna read through this, because I'm not too familiar with the Judgment or Yakuza games, really, so we're just gonna read through this PlayStation blog post. But, and like, yeah, as you've seen, like, all these games that I'm going through, you can check them out on the PlayStation blog post or their own game pages. So let's see here. So, a collected police officer reveals the location of a murder victim's body, the man who had once bullied his late son. Already pretty heavy. Private detective Takayuki Yagami, I assume it's this guy right here doing a sidekick on a skateboard. I can't breathe. It's called to investigate this impossible case of 2 crimes committed at once. What starts out as a straightforward tale of revenge leads into a growing criminal network, a flawed legal system, and those who would take advantage of both. So, from what it sounds like, it's going to be like a noir thriller type of story, but with the traditional Yakuza, like, zaniness and combat to it, because as they did show in like the gameplay trailer, you kind of see it here. looks like you got a bit of like a parkouring, platforming going on. I have to verify my age again. Well, I guess not. But yeah, also has that like over-the-top style Yakuza combat that I've seen before. And of course, you got your zany video games and stuff, which do look interesting, I won't lie. I feel like before this game comes out, we might get like a PS5 version of the first Judgment game, because it seems like that's kind of like it just seems like the right way to go with it. You know, get people familiar with the franchise, or like maybe do some type of bundle deal. Because this does look interesting. I've never played any of the Yakuza games, but they've always like the combat's always at least intrigued me a little bit. And, you know, these mini games do look a bit interesting, I won't lie. But yeah, if you're a fan of the Yakuza series, or if you played the first Judgment game and absolutely loved it, then here you go, you guys got a sequel. And it's going to be coming out... Okay, not coming out September 21st, but an early access will be starting on September 21st. So, that's good. But it does come out September 24th, so really, you get early... You pre-order it, you get early access on September 21st, and then you won't have to wait long till the full game comes out. Just at the end of next month. So, very exciting news for the Yakuza fans out there. Something I might check out if maybe they make the first Judgment game available, which, you know, wouldn't be a bad idea if they make it like a free game, one of the free games for next month's PlayStation Plus games. Yeah, maybe they'll do that. But next, Sony also showed off what's going to be included in Death Stranding Director's Cut. Coming same day as Lost Judgment, actually, September 24th. I don't think that'll hurt the sales of Lost Judgment. It's two very different games. You know, you got the Yakuza combat, and now you got, you know, Hideo Kojima weirdness. Praise be Kojima. Does have cross-save and upgrade pass for PS4 players. I did see that for Death Stranding's Director's Cut, it is going to be it's going to be another $10 upgrade to go from the PS4 version to the PS5 version. But that's it, at least. It's at least just $10 to get the upgrade, and then, you know, you're good to go. You get all the content and everything. Which there was actually quite a bit of it. So for starters, they did show off like a bunch of new gadgets and stuff, and apparently a racetrack, apparently. Yeah, that was also shown. But yeah, some of the gadgets they showed off right here at the beginning. You get a cannon! You can't cannon, just to lob packages right across the distance, you know, shorten your load time. Load you have to bear, or how far you have to carry it, so you just yeet it across the plains. And then, I wonder if they'll show it here. There was one where it was like a little robot. No, they didn't show it. You rat bastards. Is there any more? No. Rat bastards. Anyway, there was a couple of... Well, not a couple. It seemed like some, but I do believe there will be more. One, there's a little not so little robot that's just legs that can either carry packages for you or do your walking for you. The walking simulator walks for you. Amazing! And then you can also add in, you can also do ramps that you can like put it on the other side of a canyon, and then you can launch your motorcycle over. That'd be another good way to create shortcuts and stuff. And then what? I'm trying to think. I do believe, let's see, they are adding a firing range area, which kind of sounds like, for those of you familiar, the combat simulator in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Let's see, there is a racing mode, which is, I assume, this right here. It's, again, very interesting. I mean, you're a man delivering packages, but, you know, you just gotta enter, you know, the Death Stranding Grand Prix. And I guess I did see that there's also going to be additions to the combat, like melee combat mainly, which is good, because I heard that I still need to play through it, but now I might as well wait till Director's Cut comes out, that the combat in Death Stranding was very lacking. It lacked the zaniness or intuitiveness that we've seen in Hideo Kojima's previous works in the Metal Gear Solid games. Now, even though this game is director's cut, Hideo Kojima did come out and say that director's cut isn't really an accurate description for this, because it's not content that was cut from the original game, so none of this was going to be in the original game when developed it. This is stuff that they're adding. So this is stuff they probably started working on, maybe, I want to say probably not long after the game release, maybe like a few months afterwards, but it wasn't something they initially had planned or something that they did plan, but they just cut from the original game. So he calls it a director's plus, because you're getting additional content that wasn't originally planned for the final game. So yeah, a lot of new stuff being added, and of course there's also going to be new story stuff added into it. Hideo Kojima, Death Stranding is already very weird world setting, reeks of his touch, and who knows what else would get added in there. But yep, Death Stranding director's cut coming out September 24th. So not a very long wait for that, just a little over a month, about a month and a half. Very excited, very much looking forward to it, and once it comes out, I will definitely finally be trying to do a playthrough of that, because it's already been sitting in my backlog for, I don't know, definitely like 2 years now. And then next, and I know you're all tired of hearing it, but listen here. We got a straight up 9-minute deep dive into Deathloop gameplay. It sucks how I can't really show it because I don't want this to get copyrighted, so I don't want to risk that. If I could show it, I would, but sadly I can't. But the gameplay definitely has me more hype for the game to come out. It looks very interesting. It showed off like a power where if you die, you can quickly rewind so you don't start the day over. And basically how you, like, even on a death, you kind of like use any info that you know for your next run through. Like it showed you, the player, I think dying in one run, but you found out like where your target's going to be and what they're going to be doing. So you figured out where to go, what to do, and were able to plan out your kill, basically. Let's see. Yep, this is the ability I'm talking about, sort of like reversing time. It's called Reprise, and thanks to it, and you do get it early game, and basically if you die, it saves you from a restart. You get 2 uses of it, basically. But if you die a third, then your loop will end, and you start the whole day over, and you have to do everything all over again. But the good thing is about it, when you use Reprise, your enemies stay dead. So Reprise is basically saving you from having to start the day over. You're basically rewinding time for just yourself, you can say. Like, the more I saw this gameplay, the more it intrigued me. It definitely looks like, more Dishonored goodness. Dishonored has some crazy powers and action in there, especially when you finally get into that groove of how to take out your enemies as quickly, as efficiently, as wild as possible. But it also adds in a bunch of new stuff, being able to take enemies' guns after you take them out, being able to plan out different ways to kill enemies, very unique ways, like the way he killed his target in this 9-minute deep dive was he was like up on stage doing sort of like a comedy thing, and if technically the setting was if nobody laughed, then you got basically thrown into a meat grinder. Well, so you kind of intervene a bit, and even if he got a laugh, you just pressed a button and he got turned into a Krabby Patty, basically. But yeah, Deathloop, definitely gonna be getting this day one. I'm very excited for when it comes out and how it's really gonna play out. This premise and story intrigues me, of how it seems like it seems like a roguelike, but at the same time it's not. So I'm very curious on how it's gonna play out. Because every time you die, you do start over. All your targets that you've killed come back to life, so you have to go through that again. And basically everything plays out the same, but the one unknowing factor that you have to face is another player, I believe, like an actual whole player, or either a whole player or like an NPC type of character, I think, is somewhere in the world doing something that is out there to kill you and basically stop you. And that's the one thing you can't predict somehow. But anyway, that was it for Sony's State of Play. Again, well, not Sony's, PlayStation's State of Play. Again, nothing like absolutely crazy shown off. Again, most of the stuff I'm looking for. Tribes of Midgard, I'm definitely looking forward to when that comes out. It does have like a post-launch roadmap planned out. They do got like seasons planned out and everything. And that 10-player like co-op survival mode is something I definitely want to like try out with Kneeckoh. This Forged in Shadow Torch definitely looks like a fun arcadey style action platformer. Also getting that day one. That also comes out actually comes out really early next month, September 7th. And yeah, Tribes of Midgard comes out at the end of this month. Hunters Beacon Legends, definitely interested in this, especially since it's going to be launching as one of the PlayStation Plus games for next month. So you can... Okay, no, not next month. It's going to be August 3rd that it drops. I think that was a correction, because I do believe that during the State of Play they did originally say it was going to be launching in September. But, you know, August, a little bit longer wait than I was thinking, but, you know, still going to check it out regardless, because, I mean, new free PlayStation Plus game. Sifu, they showed off more of the combat, you know, and that actual, like, getting KO'd and aging mechanic playing out. Really can't wait to dive into it. Sad that it got delayed, but at the same time, understand I want this to be the best that it can be, especially with, you know, how much I really dig into style, and I like the the Kung Fu action style. Jet the Far Shore, definitely like lower on my priority list. I need to see more of it and like understand more of it, because at the moment it doesn't really seem like my type of game at the moment. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, my weeb heart sings. I'm definitely getting this day one, especially since I really love the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games and how those played out and really captured those big fights and everything. And I do not doubt that those will be, the fights in Demon Slayer will also be captured really well. Even the ones that were like not as big, but still hype. Lost Judgment definitely looks like a really cool game, you know, cool sequel to Judgment in addition to the, you know, Yakuza universe. Again, haven't played any of the Judgment games, but hopefully, like, they add Judgment as one of the PlayStation Plus free games for next month. It did just get added to PS Now, though. I don't have PS Now. I don't really see a need to have it. But, you know, they still could add it as one of the free PlayStation Plus games for next month before this comes out, which I think would be the smart move. Death Staring Director's Cut got a nice look of all the stuff that's going to be coming in the Director's Cut, you know, story, you know, additional combat paths, new gadgets for transporting your packages and all that good stuff. So it definitely seems like there's going to be a lot coming in this Director's Cut to truly make it feel like an expansion from the base game. And then also we got Deathloop. You know, Deathloop's been hyped up for so long now. People initially complained about, you know, seeing more Deathloop at this State of Play, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure they might have hushed up after seeing those 9 minutes of gameplay and just how fun it really looks. I'm really looking forward to definitely mastering these powers and trying to get through these days and getting through and trying to take out my targets before I get killed. And I'm very interested to see how, like, this whole premise of, you know, basically live, die, repeat plays out. But yeah, that is it. So let me know what you think of how this PlayStation State of Play was to you. Is it, like I asked before, is it a W or is it an L? I think it's a W. They didn't show anything like initially big, but they did, like, you know, show off a bunch of new indie titles, third party stuff, which, you know, there has been that controversy lately of, you know, how Sony's relationship is with indie devs, and I think they kind of did this to show, like, you know, like, we do, like, kind of, like, support like any indie devs that decide to put their games on our platform. So I do think that's nice. how it is, however, to be seen, like, if they completely fall through on that. I will say, it was surprising to see no info on Kina the it is pronounced Kina, I believe. Kina the Bridge of Spirits. No new info on that, and we also didn't see any new info on Little Devil Inside, which was something I was on. It's a kind of slated to, it was originally slated to come out this month. However, people are pointed out that, like, that might be a mistake. That game has been suspiciously quiet for so long, and I was kind of hoping to see it this state of play, but, you know, it didn't happen. You know, whatever, don't dwell on it. We did get some cool stuff in here, you know, stylistic arcade get-in, new VR game coming, especially, I assume, with the PlayStation 5 VR. Norse mythology, Diablo, awesome. Action, side-scroller, awesome. First month 3, new fantasy, Battle Royale, awesome. Aging Kung Fu Master every time he passes out, awesome. At the Far Shore, exploring a new planet to save your dying civilization, intriguing. Slaying demons, all anime style, because you have the power of God and anime on your side, awesome. Losing your judgment and taking it out on criminals, awesome. Being stranded with death, but finding additional content and gadgets and combat, awesome. And story, awesome. Dying repeatedly, awesome. But yeah, that is it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. My name has been Rico Suave. And let me know what you thought down in the comments below. And while you're down there, hit that like button. And why not subscribe too if it's your first time here? We cover all types of games between me, Kneeckoh, and Turby. So definitely check out, put down in the comments, you know, what you thought or other stuff you'd like to see. We're posting, well, we're trying to post every day. And also we have a podcast every week. Every week. On various platforms. So definitely check that out. And as always, thank you for entering the chat. Peace.